everyone, I'm Jason with the All Things Open team. I'm here with Jessica. We're going to talk about Python, observability, AI, and a whole bunch of other cool topics. Jessica, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Jessica. I'm a senior developer advocate at Elastic, and I've been there for about a year and a half now, or actually a little over a year. I got started in December of 2023. Before that, I was at Twitter doing developer relations up until the Elon Musk thing happened.
Well, I understand that you're passionate about Python and observability. What excites you about it, and why is it important to you?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in terms of Python was the first language that I ever worked with about 15 years ago. And I just remember like how magical it felt when I was like building things and I was like, oh my God, like my code made a tweet happen. And then I found the community, and that made it even more magical just because like I was so new and the community was so welcoming to me, and pretty soon I was like speaking at conferences and writing articles and getting to know people, and it was really great. In terms of observability, it's actually funny. I'm actually relatively new to observability. I knew about it as like a buzzword, and then I started working at Elastic, and we were talking a lot about OpenTelemetry, and I didn't know what it was, so I tried to Google it. I tried to ask ChatGPT, and it told me, like, it explained it in like a really wild way. It was definitely an AI hallucination, and it was telling me that like it was like a magical helper that helped me like draw pictures with crayons. It was like really confusing, and I was like, wow, there's like not a lot of content on getting started with OpenTelemetry and Python, and so I wanted to start creating that, and being part of that has been really great. And then also, I'm a developer advocate, so I spend a lot of time at conferences and on stages, and I build demo apps. And my demo apps have not worked on stages before, and that's really embarrassing. And so using observability tools, I've actually been able to make sure my demo apps always work, and I have tools to let me know when my demo sites are down, and like I could figure out things just going beyond like just looking at logs and print statements. And that's really helpful, especially when you have to have demo applications that run on stages.
Right on. That's a cool little hack there with using the observability features to make sure your demos are working. That's really interesting. I want to dive deeper into observability though. You know, for someone not familiar with it, what is OpenTelemetry?
Yeah, so the way that I describe OpenTelemetry is that it is an open source vendor neutral observability framework. It is designed to be future-proof. So it's designed that as you use new and different tools, you can always monitor them in the same way. And so I think about this a lot because I remember like when I first got started and I was like using a bug tracking tool called Fogbugs, and I thought that that was what we were going to be using forever. And then now that's not really the standard, and nobody really talks about that anymore. And like I've been around in the industry long enough to see tools come and go. So it's really exciting to see like standards be created so that people can always keep kind of monitoring things in the same way. And I just like love standards and frameworks and things like that and processes. So I got really into it because of that.
Perfect. I think that's great. So there's a lot of discussion these days about AI's role in development. Do you think AI will replace developers? Why or why not?
So I've been thinking about this a lot lately, especially in the shower. And one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot is like, you know, there's always going to be bugs. And like, I've tried to write code with the help of LLMs in the past. And I always get to this point where like, there's some bug that like, it just kind of goes in this loop and it's hard to solve. And I think that's what makes developers so important, is that there's always going to be bugs. There's always going to be things that happen. And there's always going to need to be somebody to like debug. And I think humans, we do that really well. We have really good reasoning skills. And so I still think, call me old-fashioned, but I still think that there'll always be room for somebody to kind of debug the LLM and somebody to make sure that it's up and running and there. But I do think that the nature of writing code is going to change. When I got started writing code, I really like struggled. Like I couldn't follow every tutorial. Everything was like really hard. And so I really wish that some of the frameworks that exist now, like I wish I could talk to Claude back when I was like learning how to code. And I think I would have been able to like get started a lot faster if I had that.
I got it. That sounds great. Well, I'm really interested in this next topic. Tell me more about how you use code and modular synthesizers to make music and audio-reactive video art.
Yeah, so this is really fun. I used to run a meetup called Hack and Tell in Washington, D.C. And the meetup had a flaw because it was all lightning talks. It was all 5-minute talks. And as an event organizer, it was a little bit of a nightmare because you always had to like keep presenting, because if you recruit 3 speakers, that's only 30 minutes. And so you need more content than just 30 minutes. So I would always have to keep creating things. And I was in a punk band at the time. And I was very bored of just like the rules that existed. And I like was like, wait, we're trying to be like outsiders, but like everything sounds the same. And so I thought that if I use new tools, I can make sounds that you've never heard before. So I was trying to like kind of like make aggressive music that was like more exciting than anything I've ever heard. So I have a project called Messica Arson. My name is Jessica Garson, so shout out to the kids from 5th grade that made fun of me and called me Messica Arson, because that's like a sick artist name. And I use that, and I make aggressive noise music, and I like now send the sounds from my laptop. I use a language called Super Collider. I send those sounds from my laptop to my modular synthesizer, and then from there I sample myself screaming and make like loud aggressive sounds, and it's really fun. In the past few years, actually during the pandemic, I got into making audio-reactive visualizations. There's this site, I use a framework called Hydra, and there's like a web app for it. And so during the pandemic, I was just like remixing people's Hydra patterns is what they call them, and those are kind of like or visual sketches rather that people created, and then you could remix them, and I was remixing it so much that it became my own. And so that's kind of how I got started, and now I just do it both in tandem.
I love it. I want to take it back though. How is that related to the meetup?
Oh yeah, so that's a great question, and I just kind of went off on this like rabbit hole.
No, as you should have.
I actually so what happened was that like I just Googled making music with code, and then I found this framework called Sonic Pi, and I just loved it. It was like one of the best things, because I was like, oh my God, my code can make sounds. Like what? And I think this is the reason I'm a developer advocate, is like I get so excited when I do something new, and I love having that like haptic feedback, or like something like my code made something happen. My code made my shoes light up. My code made a tweet happen. And like for me, my code making sound happen was like the best thing ever. So yeah, I started using this tool called Sonic Pi, and then I found out that under the hood it was using another language called Super Collider. So I got really into that, and now I do that. Like I play shows about once a month, and I got to tour Europe once and tour Asia, and got to live my dreams that way, which is
very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. What's a new tool you've been using to boost your productivity lately?
Yeah, so one thing, I'm getting married this year, which is pretty exciting, and I don't have a lot of time for wedding planning. I'm a developer advocate. I'm always on the road. I'm always different places. So I actually use Notion's AI tools to make a checklist for my wedding. And I haven't needed a planner yet. It's been going extremely smoothly, and I had like everything I needed. And I was like really surprised, and I was like, whoa, like what future are we living in? Like there were a lot of stuff I didn't think about, and I was like, wow, I do have to do this thing. And like, yeah, I've been adding to it, and like based on my own experiences, but like I didn't have to create that. I just was like, hey Notion, can you make me like a wedding planner tracker? And it's been really helpful. So that's
Perfect.
something that's been cool.
I love seeing all the different applications there. All right. Oh, what's one tip, best practice, or any advice you'd like to share with the ATO community?
Yeah, so one of the things is when I first got started writing code, I was so afraid to submit talks to conferences or to write blog posts and things like that. And like, I've seen a lot of like really great talks lately from people who are newer in their journey, and it's this perspective that I just don't have anymore, and I love seeing that. And so really, if anybody is like, oh my God, I don't know if I should be like submitting to conferences, or I don't know if I've been doing this long enough, or I'm not an expert, submit that talk, write that blog post. Like, I want to read it. So, and if you do, let me know. I want to read it. So
I want to add on to that if I can. I always see talks at conferences where I'm like, I could do that talk. So use that as inspiration, right?
yeah, I would love to see your talk, Jason.
Cool. All right, Jessica, thanks so much for your time today. I appreciate it.